everything in this bed, this little tire, to the bugs that were munching it, but I think I've got that under control finally now. There's the last part of that big 8-ball squash vine that was in here. So I've replanted some peppers. Those are the lemon peppers. And then I put in seeds for another squash and another basil plant, lime basil, and I look forward to those coming back. But then the one right next to it is just incredible. He is my very first pumpkin plant, and he's starting to trail out quite a bit. He's doing great. I can't believe all the flowers that are in there on it. That looks amazing. I've never ever done cucumber here because we don't eat it, but I know that the leaves are edible and my chickens will enjoy it. Those are the peppers that I had to replace in here. And then the basil that was in here did make it, but it's finally starting to do a little bit better. So yeah, I'm super excited this week about that pumpkin. That is the Howden pumpkin, so it makes a very medium to large, very standard kind of pumpkin, nothing special, like a Cinderella type pumpkin or one of the tiny ones or anything. Then directly across, we had a big dump load of mulch delivered. So we've been working on that for the last 2 days, in between rain showers. And we'll get that finished and spread. Still waiting on something to come up in here that I have planted. That's our cucamelon, or the Mexican sour gherkin. Got a little bit of growth from the different types of watermelons. But I'm hoping now that we're going to have a few days of sunshine that these will start to really take off like some of the other plants have. That one over there is doing well. So, then again are the blueberries, which I have seen several of my kids stop by and start snacking on them. So I mentioned needing to net them off from the birds, but children and birds, they're both just as dangerous. So then a couple more different varieties of squash that I was able to put in. And some of these, again, now are flowering this week. We had so much rain, I thought they would never get a chance to take off. And again, it is the very, very end of May, almost the last day of May. And we're still having these crazy cool mornings, like a real spring here in the South. We don't usually have this. So when we go outside and it's, 57 degrees, that's unheard of. Usually for us, it's already not really getting below 70s overnight for us. So I think the plants are really benefiting. The last one I'll show you over here. Out front, the Cocozelle is really doing amazing and actually putting on some flowers. So I look forward to getting some fruit. It is strange to be out here and not see many of the pollinators out yet this morning. But I'm excited about that. If I turn this way, it'll be too bright. And we'll walk up and see the back side here. Check on the strawberries and the potatoes. And again, I would say this bed is doing okay, but not as good as I expected. And I don't know if it's because of the medium that it's growing in, But the ones that I have down by the pool are really just taken off. And these are kind of just meh. Now this side on the potato bed, as you can see, they had to lay a huge branch from the pear tree over into it to dump the mulch. So not only were these not doing that well, but they've still got this big limb on them. There's the mulch. So we'll get that finished up, I believe, today. A lot of these pears are really looking nice, getting bigger. Looking forward to that. And this is one of my nicer blueberry bushes. It stands really strong and upright, whereas the other ones are heavy with fruit and their leaves are falling, or their limbs are falling over. But this one only has a couple fruits on it, but it's like a really healthy and pretty bush, so I don't understand that. But whereas these, because they have fruit, particularly that one in the back, they're leaning over and touching the ground. So I know some have a bush and some kind of have a tree habit, but I'm just curious about why some of those limbs aren't a little stronger, a little sturdier. Our rabbit's moving around this morning. I guess we'll continue this way since it's not going to have so much glare from the sun back here behind the pear trees. There's our sweet mint that the girls and I stick in our water pretty much every day. This is society garlic, is doing well. Here, I've planted them to use as a perennial, but they are probably more commonly grown around here for a flower they put on in the very, very early spring. So let me back up out of that tree. Sorry about that. So I can turn, I hope without the glare of the sun, and show that these cucumbers, which are just my pickling cucumbers, are starting to put on some new growth, and they both have a couple of flowers on them. So I guess we'll be seeing some cucumbers out of them soon. But I just wish you could feel how awesome it is out here this morning. Now that the rain is gone, it's really not humid, and it's cool and crisp in the air. And probably a lot of you in the northern states are like, well, that's how it's supposed to be. But usually, when we are getting this close to June, we're already well into the upper 80s with very warm mornings. Looks like somebody left their gloves out from working on the mulch. But after I took care of working and spraying in this bed, I haven't seen the bugs. This is where they were really munching on the last video. Let me move this. So I've still got the one sunflower over there, and then I'm waiting for those zinnias to take off. Hey, kitty. Still probably about a month away from harvest on this garlic. And these were just some regular varieties of a German hardneck. I did not purchase any large varieties. Okay, then across the path over here, no bloom out of the iris. Looks like some Virginia creeper is getting in there. Have to get that out. And then, wow, this is the bean bed now. And it is just really, really zooming. I guess it liked all the rain we've had for nearly a week. So I did find any spots that seemed to be missing. And I went ahead and took care of filling them in. Right now, as I'm talking about that this morning, I'm kind of disappointed to come over here and see some of them haven't come up yet, but I know they don't like to come up when it's too damp. So I'm sure once it dries off today or in the next 2 or 3 days, they'll start to peek out. So yeah, that bed is nice and full. And I'm sure you see back there how much this pot of nasturtiums has really filled out. They like being back there where they get some shade, I guess. And I have been clipping them and throwing them into salads. Quite a bit of growth for the cranberry hibiscus there. That's that burgundy one. And then the tomatillo that I've put here, he's getting a lot more height on him and some more new growth. The girls and I have been harvesting and using some of the spring onions. That's why there's kind of a couple holes there. The cucumber. That's the Be It Alpha cucumber. That's the one I really, really am eager to try. I haven't grown it this year. Another tomatillo. And then I'm trying to find, oh, there it is. See, this cranberry hibiscus is still pretty short. It may not like the partial shade that's over here. So I may need to move it if it doesn't take off this week. Now that the rain's going to give it a chance to get some sun. Little view of those nasturtium again. I just love the variegated leaves, and I'm excited about their bright and sunny coral colors. I didn't realize I had put a different variety next to it. I thought those were both the same. Then you'll notice this week, because of the rain, my tomatoes are quite a bit taller. None of them are quite ready to attach to the trellis, but like that one in the back, it was starting to lean a little, so I gave it a little bit of support. Everyone's looking good, but him right here, quite a bit of something going on, and he even had a blossom. That's strange. I have to figure out what that leaf curl is all about, because that looks bad. The stalk is healthy. I think that's my Brandywine Black. Because everyone else, has got quite a bit more growth. That marigold is still tiny over there. Thai basil. Another healthy tomato plant. And there's the Mexican sunflower. And then in the back corner, the tall one is the Russian sunflower. And then you may notice these pieces of twine coming up. And they're all along back there. And that is for an experiment that I'm going to do to try to run my pole beans up them, since we have this old broken down building here, which is a disaster, but it's too sturdy to take down. It's a metal building with a cement foundation, so we're going to do something with it. But one of the beans, as you can see, is up. I don't know if any more are. Let me look back back in here. Oh, okay, yep, there's another one back there. So I'm hoping they will come and climb and run up there, and that should make a nice teepee. Again, I don't know why there's even a basketball goal on that, because this is nothing but grass. Very tall grass. Since it's been raining, I'm sure we'll be busy mowing and trimming this week. That always happens after days and days of rain. Bammo, the asparagus jungle. I did let the kids take probably about 4 stalks of it, the ones that really love asparagus, because they were very thick. But they were quickly replaced with even more little babies. So those are the ones. I had a couple in here that were more than 2 years old. Just 2 of them, in fact. So if I can peek over here behind. Still haven't seen, a ton of height and growth on some of the peppers. That one back there is getting taller, but this one here, I gotta make sure. I know nothing is actually laying on it, but I don't know if it's just still too cool for peppers, and it is unusual. But I'll keep now feeding them. They're old enough to be fed, and I'll get them living to their full potential. So, yes, a couple of beans did come up in this bed, it looks like, back here. That's what this one is, right here. And these are the yard-long noodle beans. So I think that'll be something for the kids to enjoy. So those 1 of those, 2, 3, 4 came up on this side. All the asparagus fronds. And then my second tomato bed, which is just doing great. And I was worried because it gets probably, I don't know, maybe 20% more shade than the other one does, because it's at a place where the sun still doesn't hit it for another hour or an hour and a half like the other bed. But a lot of these are still just as tall and just about ready to start needing to be trellised. Does anybody over here have a blossom yet, though? I don't think so. I did spend a good bit of time 2 nights ago pinching off all the suckers, though. So again, in the back corner, I've got the Mexican sunflower, and then the tomato in front of it. And then over here, I have the Russian sunflower. And then beans are, one's popping up back there, another one over there. So maybe by next week's tour, we'll have something interesting to show on those. So as I back up, this is how that looks with the bed in the center, and then those trellises are going to go up there. My little boy came out to see the kitty. Okay, we'll walk across. As we've been mulching, we've been doing a lot more over here in this bed too. So there's the lemon thyme in the front. A couple daylilies. Pineapple sage, which is really going to put on a nice show. in the summer. That's the Okinawan spinach. And then the rhubarb, which did put on a few new stalks. And then that one in the front, which, you know, the leaves are poisonous, but evidently something enjoyed them because it munched the bigger part of that one in the front. My rain gauge, which I already emptied, but was overflowing. This is my Tropicana rose. Not really doing anything yet, but across from it is my Midnight Madness, or Moonlight Madness. And it bloomed one at the end of last week. And then it looks like this morning there's another one. I know I'm in the shadows. But it's a very pale lavender, which I know I'll enjoy. In contrast to the Tropicana across from it, that's going to be a really vivid coral. There's a little view of what's coming up. And I'm going to go look still in this bed. We'll finish this one where the rhubarb was. Because the healing garden really isn't coming along. I haven't put a whole lot in there. Little baby rhubarb still coming. Couple longevity spinach. No, those are more Okinawan because they're purple. Okay. And then the comfrey, which I should have a whole row of that once I put them out this week. They're all big enough now to put out. Let me see if I can get in some better light to show you how the beans are coming for the noodle trellis. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's better over here. Okay. So, just about all of them have something on there. I'll go in this week for any that are missing. And they're shooting up about 3 inches tall now. And I'll start weaving them in and helping them learn how to climb. Still have a lot of my mullein and St. John's wort, different things to put in. No, we haven't done the tilled garden even yet, or the tilled bed, so I can put in these blackberry vines. Just because of all the rain, you can't really till in the heavy clay that we have here, or it turns into clods of brick when it dries, and you really just can't work with them. The horseradish is beginning to recover from being transplanted here. Just have a little bit of my horse manure compost left, and pine straw that I store here. Look how unhappy the lavender is now. I think it really hates being here. So I might move it to a little more of a sheltered place. But next to it, the yarrow seem to be enjoying being there because they're growing well. I've got 2 plants of those. Looks like one I need to uncover from the mulch. So also in here, there's another couple cranberry hibiscus plants. Right there. Up front, my roselle, which should really like all the sun here, even if the heather didn't. And the other cranberry hibiscus. Love just tearing those off. They're a perennial. If I can get them acclimated here, of course. They were for me in Florida. A couple more roselle I gotta plant out. And still have not put this melon into the ground. And directly across from us, very bad lighting. the artichokes. One is really doing great, and then I don't know if some of these just hasn't been hot enough for him yet, because he's still really tiny. But in the back, doing well, putting on new leaves, getting taller. So I'll give him a couple more weeks before I move him. But I do want him to be happy, because I love artichokes in my salad, and I love spinach artichoke dip. Potatoes, just getting taller and taller, greener and greener, just like the cement pond. And I finally took out the mustard plants that were in here. I'll probably put something in with these tomatoes, but both of these in the blue planters are going to be some of those yummy little blueberries, cherry tomatoes. So I'm looking forward to those to grab as a snack. And then here we are. Definitely the last probably week or maybe 2 weeks before I go ahead and tear out the last of these pieces that are part of the spring garden. The chard will stay because we use it all year as long as it'll grow. But there's still a couple kohlrabi in here. The sprouting broccoli that I've clipped from a few times. But even some of them are starting to get buggy now. So, yeah, they're just about done in here. But this has definitely been a good spot for them. We went down to the creek, so someone's towel is drying, and that's okay. But here is the orchard. Growing well. And that one nectarine in the back that I bought that looked dead, I don't think I have been able to resurrect. Probably have to pull him out and switch him out. But everything else, the cherry, the plum, the peach, and the apples, and of course the mulberry back there are looking great. So been busy moving a lot of the final things out of the greenhouse this week for planting. And then of course it'll just be a couple weeks and I'll put new things in, because I'll replace them because we have such a long growing season. Replace our cucumbers, replace our squash, but we're not there yet. A couple little nasturtium, and what else did I put here? Oh, I put some ranunculus in here. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they do. Got a tiny little nasturtium flower. Hydrangea, Okinawan spinach, and longevity spinach, because they like the shady spots. Tomatoes for when we get our tilled garden done. And then there's that spot across. Aren't they lovely? So the dahlias have a couple different variety, the standard and then also the carnival type that have burst open. They like to turn and face the sun though, which comes in from the other side. So I'm gonna come around front to show them. It's got like another one coming right under it, but I just love this really pretty coral color that it is. But that's cool, that little, just about ready to be another one. Hey buddy, good morning. You have a jacket on, wow. It's like June 1st and you have a jacket on. That's unheard of here. So these That one's about done that you saw last week. But here's a new one. Gosh, I can't get in the right spot to show you the pretty shade of purple that it is, because the sun is rising and I'm facing it. Another one. And then I of course walked right past that other carnival style. Oh, there we go. So it's like pink on the outside and yellow in the middle, and it was like a raspberry lemonade. But they are, yes, so happy down here, but so bug-free. This has definitely been a good spot for them. And the rosemary. But finally, look what I have coming this week. I hope I don't miss them for the one day they open up, each of them. I got a couple stalks right there and flowers of daylilies that'll be coming, and a little one below it. So that'll be nice. And back still tucked in the shade, you can see them much better this week. The caladium. And I do like to separate them instead of mingling in all the color. So there'll be a big show of the ruby reds, and then the ones with all the white on their leaves. Nothing is planted yet in that hanging basket. There's the back side of all the azaleas that are definitely done. They were back in April. And then here, I have that peony with the two heuchera in the back on the sides. And then this is a, oh goodness, of course I won't be able to remember right now. Something special that I bought when I was up in Minnesota. And it is a, I don't know. My brain won't think of it right now. I wasn't thinking flowers, I was thinking vegetables. Which is sad because before I can save it, a bug got my little midget cantaloupe that I had put in. So I have replaced him. Just ate it right down to the stalk. This pepper is just looking pitiful, but I took care of it, put out some DE, and sprayed everything with neem. Harvested a lot from those little dill, these, well, quote, mammoth dill, so they look pretty small, pretty thin. And there is my one Armenian cucumber. The other one is on the other trellis right there. Both of these Armenian cucumbers, they're my favorite. They're the kind I most likely love to grab and throw into salads because they do not have that thick green rind. They're really members of a melon family, but they do have a very nice mild cucumber taste. They aren't heavily seeded inside. When you slice them thinly into coins, because of the ribbing that is on the long, melon or cucumber of the Armenian cucumber, it's kind of not really star-shaped, but it has a lot of, spikes around the outside edge from the ribbing. The Egyptian walking onions are doing their thing. And there's two squash here in the front too. All right, so that is this part. As you can tell, I love to come and sit at that big round table back there. When my work is done, this is one of my favorite places to hang out because it's one of the spots that's actually, quote, finished. So I can get a little bit of enjoyment, but it's nice and shady back here up under the table. I think we had some ice cream here last night, and I just sit here and look over into that bed and enjoy everything. Good morning, buddy. Are you awake yet? Is it a weed? Probably. You can pull it. Thank you. So, yeah, there's that white hibiscus that I'm looking forward to. I got a couple of basil in here with this patio lime. It's a Persian lime, and it has 2 ever so tiny leaf stalks coming back after the others were munched away by slugs. I put some bait down for them, sprayed it with neem oil, and I hope they'll have their chance to take off. A beautiful cement pond, which my daughter finally caught a turtle that we had been having visit us in there, and so we relocated him down to the creek. Some nasturtium in here that did have flowers, but the girls ate them. There's another cocozelle squash, honey rock melons back there, and of course here's this one that I already showed you on the earlier part of the walk. And then down as it gets shadier, which it may have been too shady so far, there's another Okinawan spinach that I use for greens. But finally coming up is my elephant ear stalk. Our water we keep down at the pool. And then these beauties. We've been munching them as they come, but they keep on putting on blossom, so I'm excited about that. But they also keep on putting out runners, so I just keep putting out more pots for them. In this planter, oh, there's a new one coming up today too, the one in the front. These are a really cool looking flower that I never heard of, a tigerella. They're kind of a bulb, as you can see, and that's why they're just now coming up. I found them at the Dollar Tree. They looked terrible, but the picture on the front looked nice. So I brought them home. I soaked the bulbs overnight, just like with the ranunculus, and lo and behold, it actually is sprouting something. It has kind of a striped flower, so it was like fuchsia and white, purple and white, and maybe orange and white. So we'll see what comes of that. And as long as these strawberries stay happy down here, these are supposed to be white strawberries and pink strawberries, but they all, as you can see, turn red. So, but as long as these do well down here, I'm going to keep them here. I just hope they don't. I think there's new growth finally on the top of this other blueberry cherry tomato. See how this is brand new green, and that's what was there when I planted it down on the bottom. As long as he gets some sun, once he's tall enough, then he will compete with them once his leaves can reach it. But I was a little bit worried now that the strawberries kept getting bigger that he wasn't going to have a chance. So I'll walk here behind the slide. A little bit different path today. We've chopped down big trees, all kinds of things. I think it's still, no, that's a different one coming in. My lemon balm. Keep it down here because of the mosquitoes. We rub it on us. And just a place to sit. Check over here. I did go ahead and take off that top piece that had gotten broken by the cat, but I have been rewarded by new growth. I just hope, you see how it was main and in the middle? I hope it's not like a tomato or a tree where if you top its main growing stalk, it doesn't really grow any taller, it just gets side growth. That might be the case, I don't know. In fact, I can take this out. This was just for support. So it may not get very much taller, just wider and bushier. But it was dead, so I had to do it. I had to pull that piece off. Some more lemon balm that I took out from there. And the kids' seesaw back there. There's where I store some of the pool floats. And then I wanted to get in here and show just how much crazy growth is on this grapevine. He's getting huge. So I really am looking forward to planting that in the fall. And I've got one more apple tree right there in the front. It's called Citrnoelle. A couple blueberries back there. It looks like only one is still green on the left, far left. And then right here in the front on the right is the Colby pecan tree that's doing well. Getting ready to plant some more, so I mixed up another batch of soil and peat moss. Oh wow, this is getting too bright. Let me go around the other side. I have planted out this with a few more things, but these are some peppers still waiting to get planted. Down there are those comfrey that I need to put in. And then I'm just trying to figure out, these are two prickly pear cactus paddles that I broke off from a neighbor's yard. They let me, and then they rooted really well. And now, of course, not only have they rooted, but they are starting to fruit and stuff. See, they're two separate pieces, that big long one, but it's got this new growth right here and way all this, because they were just two of those teardrop shaped paddles. So I have to put them somewhere. I know they're not especially pretty, but I like to have them for the permaculture aspect and for their fruiting body. They do have a pretty blossom, and that's what those will produce. Boysenberries. One, he's really tall and amazing, and this one, he's still such a puny little guy. I don't know what I can do to help him, but we'll see. There's a lilac I hope gets started. Oh, we didn't look at the wisteria today. A couple peonies back there. But wow, it's really getting bright, so good thing we're just about finished. I did go ahead and get the apple mint planted in here. I'm hoping that because it's a mint and it's sort of invasive, that not only will the roots go down, but they will come up and fill both of those side cavities as well there. And then I tried to sort of do the same because I love symmetrical or symmetry. So across from those two sedums, I did the same with this peppermint that I moved. And so I hope he'll root and then end up coming up and filling both those cavities. I am going to work on planting out the wall blocks too. I hope I get that done this week. But we will end on a beautiful note again with the dahlias. And I hope you have a great week. Thank you for coming along with me on my garden tour this week. And as always, thank you for stopping by Dixie Living Homestead, where old times are not forgotten. Bye.